Dyslexia. How did I come about discovering I had it? When I was a kid, I vaguely remember having to take a test, and most of it was like visual, like the white blocks with red on it. You had to make designs and obey what the teacher tells us to do, and somehow it showed I had dyslexia, and my mom was the one that got the test going, and the school went to my mom wanting to have the test done because they thought maybe I had an issue, and she was fine with that. But my dad didn't want me to have it done. Nope, big mistake. The thing about the test is, at the time, I did not know what I was doing and why, because I was I was like, wow, like a kid, like maybe 4, 5, 6. So the memory of the test is kind of faded, and I now understand because I talked to my mom about it once. Back then, they tested you and they wanted you to know what it was, but the mindset is not to let it be the boss, not to let it control you, saying what you can and can't do, which is ironic because my best subjects are reading, writing, and dyslexia affects that mainly. Okay, what I was told was back in the day is dyslexia. Your mind get things confused backwards, which is true. A sign of it when I was young was reading things wrong. I think I see something, but it's actually is a different word instead of that, and I repeat stuff like the. I still do that some. I ramble, and when I do ramble, I say and and you know, I still do it, but I edit most of that out when I make a video. But it's not as bad as it used to be. My dyslexia was more severe because every time you read about dyslexia, they talk about how it affects people's reading, but that's minor dyslexia. I had severe dyslexia, which also affects your speech and how you talk. Because of that, I was always in speech therapy. I was in therapy into high school, and I always going to struggle with speaking, and not much I can do about it. To me, now as a adult, dyslexia is less of a problem than it was when I was young. Because I now know what it is and how I can use it. I read slow and I go over things 2 times to make sure I got it. Like editing videos and books is difficult because of dyslexia. I have to edit the same things like 3, 4, 5 times to get it like to the point where normal people would edit 1, 2 times. It takes me longer to do things. I have to be extra careful, and I gotta find loopholes on how to do things. I'm doing 100% better than when I was a kid. because I could not cope with dyslexia. And kids are mean. You get made fun of. People call you dumb. I don't need. I don't need those people. So okay, off topic, but how people see dyslexia is odd. They see it as one way because they think you have dyslexia, you have problems with reading, and you can't have problems like speech impediment or math. Math is another problem with dyslexia. Is too complicated for me. That's why I can't do trigonometry or any advanced form of math. It's not a power of dyslexia people. Our minds go slower and we get tired faster, and advanced math is impossible for like me to do. Uh, but society, okay, lately there are people who praise dyslexia, but they generalize dyslexia. They put all dyslexia under one term. Like Malcolm Gladwell, he had this book. I have it on here somewhere. Malcolm Gladwell, he so far had made me think more about my dyslexia, but in the bad way. Like, he took me back decades in a negative way because he kind of pissed me off in this book. Because a chapter in here talks about dyslexia, and obviously he does not have it. He compares dyslexia to a superpower. You may wish you have it. It's a nonsense. Dyslexia is a disability, which means there are things you cannot do, and that's why I can't do math. In his book, he said people with dyslexia often are good at communication and being leaders, which is not true because no one takes you seriously because you're impediment or getting things backwards. No, even when you're a grown adult, people still put you down in that way. And he needed to do more work on this book when it comes to dyslexia. And it's not a superpower. It sucks. If I did not have it, I would be 3 times better than I am now. Because I am a person that struggles, but yeah, I don't give up, even though I suck. That's come from pain of dyslexia, not giving up. But at the same time, he generalizes dyslexia as in people have a hard time reading. No, his way is not defined as something that is off in the brain. How it sends the signals that get cross-wired. I remember him saying something differently. He makes it too simple, and he uses all these famous people who had dyslexia, who credit dyslexia, but all these people that he uses are like really attractive, rich, and when you hear them speaking, you cannot see any ounce of dyslexia. Okay, I am old, and I realize lots of people use dyslexia and special needs as something to get brownie points to add to their myth and legends about themselves. Oh, I have this and I overcome. So, because like these people specifically do not have a crippling form of dyslexia. If they had more severe dyslexia, they probably would not have became any of these people. They would not become rich. They would not got famous. They would not succeeded in the ways they have, because dyslexia is like having a cement block tied to your feet. That's pretty much how it works for me. You gotta use your hands and the things that are not held down. You gotta use your strengths. You got to use your strengths because your negatives or handicaps that cannot be fixed. Most healthy people who have weaknesses can fix it because it's not a disability. Telling somebody with dyslexia to get over it, it's kind of like telling somebody who's paralyzed to stand up and walk and get over it. It's ridiculous because he doesn't really, Malcolm, I mean, he doesn't look deep into dyslexia. He cherry picks the best, easiest situations, not the bad, severe dyslexia. I don't appreciate dyslexia being romanticized in the ways that he does. Besides that, growing up at dyslexia, things been okay. It's just that you have to fight harder than healthy people to get basic things. Like getting a house took me over 25 years. So, like, just having a job and trying to not quit, not to want to give up is difficult. My job options are limited, so like I can't really do anything technical like math, computers, or I have to keep to data, reading, writing. That is what I can do. But I do think that how I grew up helped me. The 80s mindset, this is your problem, but it will not define you. You can overcome that. I think the 90s, 2000 people now use they use their disability as an excuse not to even try at all. If you have education, school, and dyslexia, there are things that they can train you to do that will help you make a living. You have to figure out who you are as a person, what you can and can't do. And that's what they should be doing in school for dyslexia people. Help them with the reading, help with the speaking, have them not be defined as a loser because they have this issue. Don't let it control you or be the boss over you. Malcolm Gladwell made me think by accident, if I could change who I was, not have dyslexia, I would. So pull it out of my body and shoot it and light the dyslexia on fire. Whatever that would kill it to make me like everybody else, I would do it because it is a disability which is not normal to the average population. And to be productive members of society, the healthier we are, the more we can do, the better we can become. But having dyslexia or disabilities is no excuse to be down on yourself and hold yourself back. You can still live and do things in your life, even though reading is difficult, even though math is impossible, and you can do basic math, and that's all that kind of matters. Because I have found out working in different jobs, I did not need math at all. Most problems are solved by basic math, like multiplying, dividing. Besides fifth grade, I'm not using anything more advanced. But only once I had to use pre-algebra, and that is when I went to college. They gave me that test I had to take so I can get in there. But I passed the pre-algebra by over 80% on it. Yet they still wanted me to take a lesser math class before I took pre-algebra. Like, why? I passed the test and you're still gonna make me do this nonsense? And also, I grew up thinking lots of my problems I have, but because of dyslexia, but that was not true. Sometimes I think people don't understand me because my speech impediment. But then I found out sometimes it's because the person is a bit deaf, or they wasn't listening, or they are a narcissist and they don't care about anybody and what they say, or you try to talk to somebody, hey, how you doing? They are in the zone. They don't care about you as a person. Like, it's not you. Sometimes people make typos in books and you think it's you, but it was it. No, it was the person who edited the book, and they actually make mistakes, and you think it's your dyslexia, but it's not your dyslexia. Like, besides the mindset I was given, I found that most of the time, worrying about your dyslexia and letting it get you down is pointless. Like, it's not going to help you read better. It's not going to help you do the math, or it's not going to help you fix the typo in the book. Okay, I have rambled on for too much. Bye bye. Like, subscribe this video.